Hey everybody, welcome along to FFP Travels. Today we're going to find out more about female and youth rugby here in the UAE. I invited a couple of guests along to give their insights, their opinion, their thoughts, and the passion they share about the game of rugby. Welcome to FFP Travels, Kylie and Jess. Hello ladies.
Hello.
Hey! We're just talking off camera, trying to make each other nervous before we get started, so it's really cool to get rid of those nerves. It's really exciting for me to chat with you guys about youth rugby because female rugby has really taken off in the last 3 years. There's more opportunities for girls here with representatives, squads being announced, and there's more rugby as far as the clubs themselves. They're really promoting it and getting more involved. And you see there's such a bigger involvement. So thank you for coming along and joining in our space.
No, thank you.
Let's find out quickly more about you guys yourselves, though, to start with. Same with you, Jess, just kind of background, what brought you here kind of into the UAE and with that passion of rugby.
So I'm from England initially. I grew up there on a farm with my parents and family. And I started playing rugby. I was originally a gymnast, and I started playing rugby when I was about 11 years old, and I've kind of been involved ever since. But
do you remember your first experience of why you loved rugby? Was it the bash or was it the...
I don't know. What does make you love rugby? Sometimes I question it. I don't know. I think the team camaraderie. I think coming from a individual sport like gymnastics, and you know, me and my sister trained hard through gymnastics when we were growing up. Like, Mum used to take us sort of 5 times a week. She'd be there for like 4 hours on a Saturday. So it was so intense. And you know, gymnastics is like a brutal sport. Same with rugby. And I think I just earned for that like team environment. So I think I ended up stopping for various reasons, and I actually saw in the local newspaper, weirdly, a girl that also stopped at the same time as me. There was just like 4 girls at the local Newark Rugby Club, and she was in the paper, and 4 girls on the photo, and she was just promoting the girls' team that just started out there, and they were all muddy and everything. And Dad was like, "Oh, it's Fiona from gymnastics. Like, why don't you come down and like try it out?" Because Dad's always been like so obsessed with rugby, like he's rugby mad. So I seen that, and I think I just was like, I went down, tried it out, and it's the team.
It was the dirt that attracted you to
I
rugby.
had that through growing up on a farm, so I'm well used to that. But I think just like being in a team sport is what I personally love. I think you know, having your teammates around you no matter what, and the girls behind you. I think that was what probably drew me in. And
what brought you to the UAE then with rugby?
So I trained to be a teacher in the UK at the Loughborough Schools Foundation, absolutely amazing school, and they taught me everything I knew. But I was just ready I'd been in Loughborough since I was 16, so I boarded at Loughborough College, and I did college and uni there, and post-grad, and then my first year in ECT as a teacher. So I'm a Loughborough local, basically. I'm not actually, I don't classify myself from Nottingham, but no, I do. But
still got the accent, so it's all right.
I was like, I need to get out. I want to see the world. And I actually played in the Dubai Sevens in 2021 with Scimitar Storm, an invitational team. And I absolutely loved it. Like, when I came out here, I was like, oh, I could live here. Like, it's
another one caught.
Yeah, it's just so amazing. I'm such a warm weather girl. So I was like, that's what kind of attracted me. And the rugby, like the passion for girls rugby out here, even though it's not huge, like there is such a passion for girls rugby. So I was like, I want to go to somewhere where I know that it's going to be, you know, pushing that. So
development and growth, right? It's awesome.
For sure,
Very cool, very cool. Kylie, are you a local as well?
I'm basically a local to Dubai now. I've lived in the UAE for 12 years. Oh, wow. Originally from Canada. Not originally a rugby player.
Not originally, no.
Ice hockey is my sport. But
ice hockey?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Jeez, that's a rough one, isn't it?
Not much of that out here. So I had to switch my tune there. And I started rugby when I was 29.
Okay, wow, awesome.
Yeah, I made the UAE team about 3 years after that, and really took to the
naturally
sport.
Yeah. What was it about rugby that attracted you to the sport? I mean, coming from ice hockey, I mean, obviously that's completely different to the ice rink to the grass fields.
I played Gaelic football for 12 years. I still play it as well. Maybe maybe 14 years now. But I needed something a little more physical and just something to challenge me a little bit. Yeah.
So you like the aggression?
Yeah, exactly. And I really loved how big and how frequently the girls played rugby here compared to the Gaelic football. The football is only a couple tournaments a year.
Yeah.
Love it. Was still able to.
There was one just recently too, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
But the rugby happened a little more often. So it was great. We started a girls team up in Ras Al Khaimah.
Oh, wow.
And,
was that where they had the sand field at one point? Was it?
Yes. Yeah, we were. But when we got in, we were able to get some Astro and then some grass. And Apollo came up and taught us one of our first sessions.
Oh, brilliant.
That's it was awesome. Took off from there. And then we kind of all dissipated and moved down to Dubai where there is a bit stronger of a rugby hold.
It's what happens more regularly as well, isn't
exactly.
it, too? So it's amazing. And then, so now you guys are into this Empire Academy. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Where do we start? Yeah, so I think...
Thank you, Mum. Thank you, Dad.
Well, since moving out here, I've been I say this a lot, but I've been so amazed by the standard of girls rugby out here. It really is... a different level. Obviously, I've seen it a lot back home in England where women's rugby is really thriving. And I just I'm the head coach of the Exiles under 18s team at the moment, and they're amazing. And there's a lot of club rugby and there's a lot of school rugby, but it's almost limited with the amount of teams that they play within that. So I was like, where is the alternative provision as well? There's definitely other academies out there, which is absolutely amazing, and there's obviously representative rugby through UAE, but I wanted to really build a girls only academy and a performance academy as well, and I wanted to expose them to these performance environments, which I felt maybe they weren't getting all year round, and that's where I've sort of built the idea around the academy being, girls only, led by a female only team. I think that's so important for girls to see that.
Role models and mentors.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, growing up predominantly, I was, mainly coached by men, which is, still amazing, but it's super cool for girls to see young girls. In my opinion, and I would have loved this growing up, but seeing people that have been through, the ranks and played representative rugby and know what it's actually like to play in performance sport and maybe face some of the issues you do face in female sports. That's awesome. And I just wanted to create a bit more of a exposure to a performance environment that's supported.
That's really interesting because, based on that, and you've been here for 12 years, and you went through this rack development, start off kickstart, and going through that. And I do want to touch on that because in the last 3 years, the female game has really, for me, it's just gone, taken off, and it's been fantastic. What are things for you that, what things have been put in place, or why do you feel more females are getting into the sport, the oval ball?
I think sevens has definitely helped, the exposure of sevens, and it's kind of inclusive to a lot of other athletes. We can pull from sprinters and gymnasts and stuff, CrossFitters. That's, some of the teams here are purely gym girls. They're like, come on, play rugby. It's a good team thing. There's more exposure on TV, and probably social media has really pushed the girls' game forward because girls are getting recognized. In my opinion, rugby is the only sport where the rules don't change between men and women. Yeah. In every other sport, you see differences. No contact. Like Gaelic football, you can't shoulder. Ice hockey, you couldn't hit. Now that there's a professional league in ice hockey, they're allowing women to hit. But it's something that's kind of growing into the game. It's not natural. But rugby, I mean, you ruck, you tackle, you compete at the breakdown. Those things are same and level all across the sport, male or female. So those are definitely things that I think have leveled off between male and female. And it's an exciting electric game, regardless of the gender.
What would be being that, because now there's obviously it's developing, there's more mentors in the game. What would be some of the initial attributes? You talk about gym girls, wanting to get into this because like muscle strong and stuff like that. Or what is it that, what would be the 3 key attributes you would think to start off as a female?
I think the first one's got to be mindset / attitude. You've got to have a bit of, confidence with contact sport is brutal. So you've got to you're either all in or you're all out. And I think in rugby, if you're not all in, you kind of get found out, don't you? You know, you slip off tackles and you've got to buy in. You might, if you don't, you maybe, you know, you can result in an injury. So I think the girls are amazing at that out here. You know, as soon as they put their boots on, they cross the white line. They're like, they're in and they're for it and they're all for one another. I think for me, it's, the mindset of going for it.
The mindset's one.
Yeah, for sure.
What's another attribute?
It's a really like positive sport. You play better when you're positive. So kind of being able to go into those dark places with your teammates and get out of them. And having that positive mindset, especially in sevens, which is the primary kind of form that we see here. If you get scored on, you can't hang your head.
Yeah.
You have, 5 minutes left to score on them, and then they might score again. So you really just have to pick up where you left off. I find that the teams that kind of keep that upbeat, it's okay, let's go again attitude. I know these are all mental, but those are the good ones.
Is there like, do you need to be, because like with rugby, there's so many different positions to play and different skill sets required for different positions.
Yeah.
When you talk about rugby and why you want to get into it, for me, because there's a variety of skills that people or different positions people can play, it opens up for more people to get involved, because like it's not about just being fit and nimble or being big and strong. You know,
it's your work ethic though as well. So like as from my side of performance, the work ethic, I can't teach you that.
Yeah,
you need to be willing to put in the grind, the effort. And you can notice those people on the pitch, the ones that are willing to throw their bodies on the line, support their teammates, support the play. If you have a good work ethic, we can teach you the skills.
Yeah. And I think it's not subjective, you know, like you alluded to a second ago, like rugby is for everyone, no matter where you come from, you know, what shape or size you are, height. You know, I'm 5'1" and 3/4, but you know,
three quarters.
Exactly, remember that. Make sure. But like I still, you know, punched it well above my weight. Yeah, I would
such a short thing to say, isn't it? I do the same. Now I'm 50.
Not 5'1.5", 1 3/4. Yeah, like it's for everyone, and like you know, it doesn't matter where you've come from, what sport you transferred from. There's a lot of, you know, talent transfers these days, aren't there? Who maybe like sprinters, or you know, like I said, like gymnasts and ice hockey players into rugby players. So there's so many transferable skills that you can have within rugby, and
I think gymnastics is a huge one. Like, if anything, I don't have kids, but I mean, if having kids, I'd be like, the first thing to do, I'd throw them in gymnastics. Yeah. Get this well-rounded space of mobility, strength, coordination. And
I had my 1.5-year-old in gymnastics.
Oh, there we go. Straight off the bat.
Smashing it.
Amazing. You're a strength and conditioning coach. This is kind of the role you kind of play in the academy as well. What are some of the things when it comes to the strength and conditioning that you look to embark or put onto these newer players that start off with?
A lot of these girls maybe haven't been exposed to the gym. It depends on what school you go to here. Some of the rugby schools really...
Oh, their facilities are
their facilities are amazing, and the emphasis on S&C is amazing. And those girls kind of have that platform and that foundation. But some of the newer girls, you know, really trying to get explosive movement into them. Their strength, just trying to develop that because it's so important for them.
Is it leg strength, core strength, inner strength, stability strength, upper body strength?
Yeah, full body explosiveness is super important to me, getting those hang cleans in and kind of powering through the broad jumps. And their core strength needs to be imperative with all the contact situations that they're put in. So just developing that through a variety of movements that are relevant to rugby.
Let's jump into that, because I think it's really important, because I think you're probably going to find there's obviously backs or forwards. There's a big story no matter what you talk about it, but what would be some of the key strength attributes for a forward, and then what about then for a back?
Yeah. Oh, testing you.
With the forwards, like obviously the scrum is huge, especially in 15s. So really trying to make sure that they're able to stabilize their core and drive some strength through their legs. So we would do a lot of kind of bear crawl, plank positions in that form and driving forward. So that's where we can use the sleds. The sleds are super important to drive through that.
Those glutes firing.
Yeah, get them going. Hip thrusters, even kettlebell swings, just things that can provide power from the hips. Did you ask about the backs as well?
Oh, I might as well. Are you back, by the way?
I am back.
Stereotyped.
Yeah.
The backs. She's 5'1 3/4.
Probably a halfback too. Are you a halfback?
Yeah. How did you guess?
Yeah. She was confusing me with her height a bit there. So
Thought she was a lock, right?
yeah, our backs, what I look for is more explosive power. So them being able to just break that tackle in the first few steps and explode through that. So that's
Awesome.
a lot of your fast twitch muscle fibers that we're looking at. So our box jumps, I still think hang cleans are hands down the best explosive power move.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I love them. But yeah, combining then our squats with our box jumps, that's
Amazing.
probably my favorite combo because they get that strength endurance and then they have to explode out of it. And our broad jumps are huge.
You focus on power, like what kind of, I've got a bit of a fitness background myself. That's why I'm quite interested in it. What kind of ratio percentage would you say goes from power to endurance as far as a training plan? And you can be sort of like forwards, backs, or whatever. I mean, just I'm trying to think from the viewers, the listeners' point of view, just to give them some, maybe a starting point to go from.
Yeah, I would look for kind of. I try to do about 60 to 70% of strength and about 30 to 40% of power, and that will change in season. What kind of block of the season we're in? I think when we're in season, I like to focus on kind of power. The strength can take a bit of a toll. And then off season, we really try to build.
Yeah, wicked.
But without losing that explosiveness. So that's why I always try to keep explosive moves within the workous. I don't want them to get too big and then not lose their fire. And then obviously the S&C. So we need to, the speed that we're doing, make sure that we're able to still obtain those speed levels.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. That's amazing. Let's check to the other side of it because there's the strength side and then there's the skill set side as well. Let's come back to the academy side of it. When it's skills, I mean, what is it, the fundamental skills that you'd want to instill in a youth player going forward? What should someone focus on as a female coming into the game?
Yeah, I think all aspects of the game, catch and pass is like a huge one. Like, if we can't catch and pass, it kind of stints a lot of the game, especially in sevens, which is predominantly what we play out here.
What's more important, the pass or the catch?
Well, you can't pass without catching it. Well, if you don't catch the ball, you can't
Chicken or
match
the egg,
it.
right?
I don't know. No, I think catch and pass is a really important thing. I'm quite a big believer on that, especially growing up and. Introducing the kicking as well at this age is really important. So, when they come to different environments, then they're already there. They've already been developing. They've been in their backyard, week in, week out practicing. And I think that's something that I like to try and encourage my players. Practice. You can never practice passing enough. I actually, my stronger passing, I always forget which side.
Right to left to right?
Yeah, it was always my stronger hand became my weaker hand eventually, because I'd practiced so much. And I think, and then obviously just, your tackling is so important as well, especially in sevens, like I said before. But it's there's so many aspects to the game. And I think that's what I want to try and give the girls more exposure to. Like out here, we play predominantly sevens and I want to bridge the gap so when they leave.
15s are starting now.
It's starting now, but it's it's not a priority out here, is it? And that's just the nature of how it is in the UAE. Which
It's evolution,
is,
right?
Yeah,
it's going to get there, but it's just in that stage of where it is at the moment.
But lots of the girls out here have aspirations to kick on and go to university. And in other environments, 15s is more quite predominantly the leading
especially
format
in the UK,
of the
right?
game, for sure, yeah. I I always loved sevens, so I'm in my element out here.
Typical back, I
mean. But I want to bridge the gap of when they enter a university environment and it is intense, and there's been girls playing the format of 15s their whole life mainly. They're not. I don't want them to be a small fish in a big pond. I want them to be prepared, and I think that's my main driver of the academy is preparing them for these next opportunities, and so when they get there, they're confident and they can go on and perform.
Let's talk about that because that's really important when it comes to it is about the future or that pathway going forward.
Yeah.
Like that's why people get into academies, like they want to develop themselves, not just about their local sport, but about representative.
Yeah.
And then if not representative, if you are focusing on that 15 to 18-year-old range, it is like, where am I going to next? If it is university, and if you, like England women are the best in the world at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
So
Hey, we're coming.
Yeah, sorry. I'm a Kiwi and I like to say we're number one, we're not. We're world champions for now.
Yeah.
but like there is a pathway. What kind of, like, I know there's been a lot of development in the UAE because there's a lot more opportunities for youth and women's rugby here. What would be the pathway for someone based in the UAE looking to go potentially to Canada, the States, to the UK, to New Zealand, Australia? What would be the pathway for them?
So I think obviously currently at the moment, last year it was you could trial to represent the UAE in the tournament that's just gone in Malaysia, and I think it's potentially maybe changing that. So not fully sure on that, but so what it was under 18s. So obviously that's an opportunity to play representative rugby out here at the moment, which is absolutely amazing. That doesn't fall all year round, which is obviously something that is a little bit more frequent for a country like mine at home, England. You know, the opportunity to play representative rugby or be in camps is a little bit more frequent in other areas, which I think falls again as to why I want to have the girls in the academy, is because it's exposing them. So when it comes to crunch point and it's trial time, they're ready, and you know, it's not as much of a nerve-wracking thing because they've been exposed to this higher level rugby all year round. And I think it's hard because how it works out here is how it works out here. I know growing up I was exposed to age grade rugby from even when I was in under 15s ages. So I had a really clear pathway. And I think that's up and coming out here. You know, rugby's developing massively out here, the women's game as well.
With opportunities being said that are available, but there's things that people can do as individuals as well, right? Because you can kind of like, someone sees your skill set or you see you play one game, like, whoa, we want you on our team, or come and trial for us. Yeah. What would it be that the words of wisdom that you'd pass on to someone right now? Like, you talk about work ethic. Yeah. Did I say worth or worth? Oh my gosh. Work ethic. Let me try that again. Work ethic to put into it. When you say work ethic, what is that exactly? What's the daily?
I think
you play representative, right? So
on pitch, there's never a moment to switch off, and I think that's important for girls to learn, especially at the ages that we're teaching. You know, just because you made a tackle, you don't then roll away and get up and then just sort of float back into the defensive chain. You know, I'm really trying to encourage now. You get back up on your feet. What's your next role? Are you firing through? Are you bouncing out into guard? You know, there's never a time to switch off in rugby, and I think. For me, especially on pitch, that's something that we need to continue honing in on and encouraging. Is, you know, it's constant work, and if you can, you know, keep performing at that level, then that is what gets you seen. It's the unseen work that gets you almost seen.
Totally, 100%.
And like off the pitch, then the nutrition is so important. A lot of the
what specifics? Let's say I'm a young girl and I've come to you and asked you, what can I do today to improve myself?
Eat breakfast.
Eat breakfast. Okay.
A lot of the girls, just from like teaching, you probably have faced it as well. They think skipping breakfast is a good thing. It's
about aesthetic look more than it is about performance.
And just or they're not hungry, but they don't realize even like a lot of our tournaments are in the morning, or our fixtures are in the morning, and they come to games without anything in their system. So that's where then their mentality, like their mind just switches off in the games. They don't have the energy to focus physically and mentally. And that's actually when personally I see a lot of dips is midway through the game, their energy sources are depleted. You talk to them, they're feeling faint. It's hot here, you know. Totally. I haven't eaten breakfast. You're like, what? So their nutrition side of things, that's where it needs some work. And that's another reason and another thing that we're going to focus on in the academy is kind of give them
fuel the night before, fuel the day of, stay fueled, stay hydrated throughout.
Yeah, it's giving examples of the sort of things you can eat and drink, etc. And I think what's important is it's in a supportive environment, and I think that's why I love the fact that it's coming from two females as well that have been there and done that. And I know for a fact, like growing up, me personally, I was that person that didn't eat before. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you didn't, I need to skip breakfast because, you know, there's so many things that young girls are worried about, you know, how girls look, their weight, etc. And that's such a common and normal thing growing up. But if we can sort of
change that.
yeah, and
Change their mentality. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like girls will also be like, oh, you ate like that much and that kind of stuff. And it shouldn't be like that. So, you know, maybe just educating them on properly feeling their body.
Well, how do you change that stigma? Like, because it's like, it's easy enough. It's like saying, no, someone that smokes, oh, stop smoking.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to really make them believe it. We need to look at performance indicators and be able to show them how their performance is when they aren't eating and how it is when they are eating and eating the right things. You know, here it's so quick and easy to order Taliban,
Uber
Deliveroo,
Eats.
whoever it is.
Oh my, what? She just put her hand up for those listening on the box.
She's new. She'll get over that.
I said, advice stone beginning.
Yeah, no. Avoid that at all costs.
That's awesome. The nutrition, I think it's a massive part of it. What about from the skill set point of view? Like, let's say you talk about off the field. So like the work that you do off the field. What would that look like as far as, okay, what, I go for a 10-minute walk?
So we've
I'm
developed
also being dramatic here, but
we've developed a training program for them as well to do off the pitch, and we'll be able to see if they have really put that effort in. We have obviously like their measures of their weights that they're pushing and everything, but we'll be able to see it on the pitch if they're kind of doing what we're asking them.
Can I ask what kind of things you'd be asking them to do? Because I think it's really good to know. Like it's like a transparency type of thing, or like I want you to wake up at 5 a.m. I want you to have a stretch or a sauna.
No, whenever they can, because we're going to see them one day a week. But we've kind of put something together for them for like a push day, a pull day, a power day, and some extra speed and conditioning.
There's some gym terminology for you. Terminology.
Yeah. And it's just kind of like almost, supporting them through it, but also holding them accountable to it. So, like we want them to be able to do it and we want them to go through it so they know what it's like, but also not be afraid to, you know, text you, Kylie, and be like, Kylie, I need help with this. Like, I'm struggled with this one. I didn't manage to complete this full conditioning session. It was too much for me, you know, but then how can we build that over time where by the end of the 10 weeks or however long they're with us in the academy, they are completing it? Because as I said before, when they do go to these performance environments in other countries or even here, like it is an expectation that you do complete the session and you complete it to the best of your ability and you finish the conditioning session. And I think that's what we want to expose them to, but in a supported environment, because they're still so young, but unless you teach them, and they're never going to know. So I think we feel like it's our duty, don't we, to really expose them to different things that maybe not everyone that's at sort of a high-end school is receiving.
And prime them for what they want. A lot of them have aspirations to play professionally or play in uni, and we want to give them the tools to help them get there that they may not be getting.
What would be some of those KPIs? Like for me, if someone come and ask me, like, you know, what do I need to do off the field? I was saying, look, do 100 passes left to right, then do another 100 right to left.
Yeah.
If you want to work on your pass every day for the next 100 days.
Yeah.
Like that's minimum. What would be like, when you talked about mindset, and there's such a variance between people when they say, oh, mindset, I'll do it once a week. Or, but then someone else who's so much more successful is because they do the daily grind and they put long time into it as well. What's your kind of standards when it comes to female athletes? Because like there is a little bit of that, I don't want to say it too loud, but like there is that bit of, you know, there's that social pressure to more look instead of perform. You know, so you want to break them out of that. But I think a lot of youth need to have that understanding of, when I say work hard, this is what I mean.
Yeah.
What does that work hard? What does that work hard standard for you?
I think at this age, it's about almost with the support of obviously coaches around them and school coaches, it's identifying maybe the areas of their game that they need to work on. I think that's something that you got to sort of identify yourself, and also with the support of others at the ages that the girls that we're sort of tapping into are. And then it's what you take with them work on. You know, if your club coach has told you, or your school coach has told you, you know, you need to get a little bit better at your left-hand passing. Well, it's then down to you whether you go away. We can give you all the provision we want in the academy, and we can give you all the advice of what, you know, go away and practice and practice and practice, and we can give them the drills as well that are easily accessible at home. Because I think that's something we've talked about a lot, is how can, this is for the gym side as well, how can we also give them exercises, etc., that you can also do at home if you don't have a gym. So it's like still allowing them to be able to be doing things that maybe if they don't have access to everything, you know, for the skill side, all they really need is one rugby ball, right? And your dad, or your mum, or your sister, or your
Or you
brother.
still have to throw the ball up and catch it.
Yeah. And I think obviously family support helps that. And for me, a lot of the girls that I've worked with, their parents are so supportive, which helps. So I think the parental buy-in as well is huge, because as you said before, like at that age, it's, you know, it's whether you get out of bed and you do it or not. But I think that is the difference, whether you make it or not. If you want to go out and do it, you'll do it. And if you don't, you don't.
Yeah, tapping into the why for them is super important. Like, I'm going to do a slight brag here, but our Dubai Warriors girls won the Dubai Sevens this year.
Yes, that's awesome, man. Just so good. Yeah, amazing, right? The Dev defended. They were won by defense too. You know, like, it was great defense. That's what won them the game.
But we did a lot of sessions with the girls, and we found out their why. Why they wanted it, why they wanted to prove themselves, why they felt like an underdog. And all of that drove their determination and their drive to exercise and do the work that we asked them to do. And it proved in the end to
what were they doing? Because what I'd love for visitors to understand is the reality of this is effort. This is what they put in type of thing.
Well, we threw on an extra training session a week for them. So they had 3 on-field sessions. Awesome. We had the girls over to my house to do gym sessions. We had social events too, you know, like a pizza party, or let's do a beach session, then meet for breakfast. So just kind of that bonding with them. We were really fortunate that we had the girls, and like you said, parental buy-in, you know, it was their parents wanted it for them. The kids wanted it for them. The positivity around the girls in the club, the pick-me-ups, we didn't hang our heads once.
But they're doing it every day as well. That's the other thing. They're committed. There's a massive commitment there.
Yeah, they were amazing, and they absorbed everything, listened and absorbed everything. So with that, they built a lot of confidence. They were able to follow their structures and systems when we played, and you saw that on the defense line. Like they were in their 22 for 5 minutes, and just
not blowing, but they're still getting in. They're still committing to defense. It was amazing.
I think, to be honest, like, good teams are built on a good culture. Like if you have a good culture within your team, like, you know, you go through training blocks of understanding, you know, how each other works and how hard each other can work. So you know that if when someone's running at 70%, you know they're running at 70%. So you know you can say to them, you know, come on, I think you can give it, Kylie, I think
pull
you
your
can give
finger
it a
out.
little bit more. But that person will then respect you because you've gone through the training that, you know, is hell on earth. But and that builds culture. And then when you're in moments that are the crunch point, like a huge final like you guys were in, you know what everyone's willing to go through to win this game. And I think when you know you've got your person right next to you that's willing to make a shot that's on the try line, then it then gives you encouragement. Okay, I'm going to do it as well. Like, you back each other up. I think the teams that I've been with that have been successful have had a really good culture. And,
awesome.
That's lovely to be involved in
Very,
as
very
well.
cool. What is the next step? The 18 going, you're playing, you represented UAE as well over here. What's kind of a minimum standard that you need to? What's that kind of you need to get to here if you are considering playing for UAE or your local representative a county or thing in the UK or something like that? What's the minimum standard? Like, if you can pass the ball 5 meters, great. Or if you can sprint 100 meters in 20 seconds, I mean, is there a kind of a minimum?
Standards are much higher. She played for England. But yeah, in the UAE, it's a lot of you like in sevens, you need to be able to pass the ball and get to support.
What does it mean by pass the ball? Hit a
good,
10-meter pass,
accurate
15-meter pass.
At least 10 meters.
At least 10 meters. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. As a forward or a back or
both.
both? Okay.
Yeah, I think the skill set in sevens, it's you're probably expected to pass regardless of your position. Holding your depth, being able to work hard to get back into depth, hard on defense. There's a lot of open space. Completing your tackles.
You're expected to make your tackles.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Your one-on-ones are so important.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing in
9 out of
sevens
10,
is-
8 out of 10 tackles? Or
Always,
10 out of
you got, you know.
ideally 10 out of 10, I know. But we're human. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, black and white, realistically, in sevens, like 9 times out of 10, you miss a tackle, it kind of leads to a try or like a huge line break where maybe your teammate's quick enough to chase that person down. So I think, definitely that's like a key performance indicator. Like you got to be hitting your tackles and you've got to be accurate because there is so much space on the pitch in sevens. The moment someone does make a mistake, again, 9 times out of 10, the other team will capitalize on it and usually, you know, result with a try. So I think you've got to be accurate, but you've got to be cohesive with your team, and I think you've got to be able to work with other people. That's
a big point of view because you talk about teamwork. It's a team sport.
Yeah.
So literally, you can have all the skills in the world, but like we've seen this time and time again over many sports, superstars that just can't elevate a team because they're just about themselves, and then they try and overdo or overplay their role, and then it takes.
Well, I'm so excited because we've had the trial for the academy and now sort of got the girls locked in of who are going to be within the academy, and like the caliber of girls that we've got training together. Oh,
they're amazing.
Yeah, insane. And it's so exciting because there's such a range. Like it's not just from one school or one club. It's all the schools, you know, across Dubai. We've got actually amazingly like quite a few girls coming from Abu Dhabi, which is absolutely insane. So for them to be exposed to training with girls that they've never trained with before, they're going to naturally learn, oh, okay, I've not done that before. I might try what she's been doing. Like, you know, they've been taught by different club coaches and different school coaches. So it's now cool to bring them all together and be in a real learning environment and be pushed and wanting to push one another because essentially they do all want to play for UAE. Like a lot of them, like. And
what about beyond? Like, is it how much? I mean, you guys will know how much people want to go. Okay, I'm 18. I've just left school. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been at school, so I don't know. But you know, whatever age you leave school at these days, where do you go from there? Like, okay, UAE is great. Let's say if you're staying here, awesome. But then let's be honest, a lot of youth now depart. They go offshore. They go somewhere else. This, at the current from the outside looking in, it looks like it's a development step. And yes, you play for UAE, and it's been great growth, but there's another level when you step away from the UAE, right?
Yeah.
As well. So, what is that realistic thing for them? Like, what can they expect to kind of get into? Where could you take this? Could you go play representative in Canada, like for the different?
Absolutely. Sorry. I'll go quick and you go. That's kind of
she's
where
from Canada. I mean,
so come to Canada.
That's kind of where we're looking to expose the girls, because, like you said, you know, there is beyond here. It's a great stepping stone, but UAE is so international, and these girls can represent other nations, and that's kind of their aspiration to get to those tier 1 nations. So we're just trying to give them the opportunity, making those connections with Canadian athletes, with British athletes, with Australian athletes, and
so good.
Kiwis, of course. We'll try to get them involved too.
If you want to be.
There's less of you here, but
exactly.
Especially the States right now is taking off. The US is
that's
taking
huge, and there's
off
more scholarships being
massively.
offered and available.
Yeah, and like, you know, coming from a place like the UAE where those scholarships may not be offered in your home countries, the US is looking at the talent and taking
massively.
those female rugby players, giving them a full ride, and exposing them to high level rugby. So us being able to kind of provide that with them, for them, through speaking with the athletes and universities, colleges.
I think what's important as well is ensuring they go to a positive next environment and a next step. Like I think obviously if they're wanting to be aspirational, which so many of them do, making sure they're going to a rugby university that fits them. They're not just going to one that maybe doesn't really offer rugby and then falling sort of between the cracks. We want them to be going to, you know, universities that really have high performing sort of programs, so then they can again still kick on, because that, you know, there's so many amazing players out here, and I don't want them to finish school here and then dip off and not go on and kick on and achieve.
Which is an unfortunate thing that's happened a lot in the past.
It
right?
has, and it has, and that's natural. It happens, but I personally, since coming out here, I've seen the caliber of players, and I'm like, gosh, like some of these girls, they're going to play for their country. Like, and I truly believe that, and I've said that to many parents. Like, I believe, you know, your daughter, if they kick on, they've got the potential. But again, it goes back to the work rate. How much do they want it? But we have so many girls that, you know, we've spoken to that they want to go to England, they want to go to America, which is insane, Australia, South Africans. Yeah, there's girls from all over. So it's just how we ensure that they're going into them, like I said before, performance programs to give them the next step that they deserve and want, really.
Yeah.
And they can dream to play professionally now.
100%. Like,
And,
that's the thing.
like, you know, they're looking at that as a career.
Yeah.
And
they should do too. Like, I
100%.
think that's one of the biggest things, is to give them the belief and show them that there is the accessibility and the opportunity right now. I mean, you've got 18, 19-year-olds playing in international for the top teams globally. So why not people from here?
If not a player, I mean, there's opportunities to ref.
Yeah.
And female refs are being exposed to male rugby
Yeah,
as well. That's
there's
coming
more.
in, TMOs, pundits. So a lot of, like, you know, Ruby Tui is huge in Super Rugby.
Super.
And that's great, because her opinion is being valued. So your knowledge about the sport and being provided with these opportunities is huge.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah, like the women's Premiership final in England was on yesterday, and completely all female commentary.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so important that they see that. And I think it's important they have
Women's
these.
World Cup, by the way.
Yeah, and exactly.
Hello.
The Women's World Cup is going to be amazing. Like the numbers that they're filling in these seats at the stadiums is like, that wasn't what I had growing up. It was up and coming, and it was coming. And
But you paved the way. You set the standard.
I was a part of the movement. But no, it's so amazing. Like, they can, like you said before, they can dream big, because there's opportunities to go big now. Like, it's so
Massively.
amazing.
Awesome. The future of rugby here then for the year, what would you like to see in the next 2 years? Just for females rugby in general, and potentially those opportunities. I mean, obviously it's connected with if you guys with the academy as well.
Yeah.
What would you like to have set up in the next 2 years, or like to see here in the region the next 2 years?
I'd love to see more girls going on and representing their country. Like, I'd love to see a handful of girls on the World Series as well. Like,
that'd be amazing. Yeah,
I think there's so much potential.
There's a couple who got close. I know Femke Sotson, she was playing for Belgium at one point.
Yeah.
She was quite close.
Femke,
And there's a couple others as well.
Eloise Hayward.
Luca Blomier.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, man.
No, it's amazing. Like, especially with being the Dubai leg, like here, it's, you know, it's their home place.
Oh,
like,
interesting. We're going to actually film that this year.
You are?
So how they did the VO last year, we're actually going to film every
So
game
good.
with a close up as well. So yeah, the production will be on what is it, the 28th to the 3rd. So all of them, the invitational, women's, everything. So you'll be able to see and get a really close look and insights into it.
So cool.
Yeah.
Shh,
So now. For me, I'd love to see more girls playing rugby as well. I think we're trying to get there in the UAE. This year they introduced under 14 contact rugby for girls. Until then, you know, the girls have been playing under 13 mixed rugby and then under 16 girls contact. So by introducing the under 14s league, we kind of will reduce that discrepancy between male and female growth at that age. So you do see it still at the under 13 level.
Wow.
So that's like, we have one girl on our team. Some teams have a couple more, but the kids that want to play contact up until that age group may now have the opportunity to play at under 14 next year.
Wow. Start them young, they say, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I think if we can get it into schools even more as well, like there's obviously your main top schools that are constantly competing against each other, but yeah, like my school, Kent College, woohoo. Like
Shout out.
Like we're trying to get it up and running, and I think, you know, the more schools that can get behind that and keep pushing it, then obviously then makes it more competitive for the larger schools. So I think that's so important, because club rugby is great, but also like if we can continue pushing school rugby, like it's only going to grow the game out here even more, and
massively.
then allows more girls to, and then that obviously raises the standard. Then more girls, you know, the
100%.
standards.
Keep evolving, keep developing, keep growing.
There's an absolute wealth of knowledge here as well, like between the male and female coaches that are in the region, the players, and a lot of people dedicate and give their time back. So kind of doing that in the schools will really, really help the growth of rugby.
And girls are proud to play rugby out here. Like I said this actually within my first game of playing with the Exiles girls. I said, God, like when I was your age, I was so insecure about playing rugby. Like genuinely, like I was so embarrassed. Like I hid it from so many people, despite sort of some of my achievements at the age I was. I was so embarrassed. Like I don't know why, but it was just because it was maybe the time that it was back then. But it's so cool how many girls love and are so proud to say, yeah, I play girls rugby.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I could
It's funny because like when you talk about that, there's a lot more internationals coming out about how they struggled with, like, their shoulders are big, so they're ashamed to show their shoulders or something, like, or their legs are stronger and stuff like that, and they're ashamed of it. And then it's like going, but actually that's what you need to perform. And what they've done is they've paved the way for more females to come through into the game and to knock away that stigma of it's like, why be skinny? Skinny's like,
well, there's so
most people
many.
are malnutrition.
Strong is beautiful.
Strong is beautiful, 100%. Athletic is the way to go. Hello.
No, there's so many stereotypes.
From a guy's point of view, it's actually great. So just silly. As an athlete myself, I'm just like, just throw that in there.
No, it's good though. It's good, and it's moving forward, and it's growing fast. It's
Massively, and it will continue to grow as well, right? It's been an absolute pleasure, ladies, to find out more and hear your insights about the sport, and I'm definitely looking forward to see what happens, especially in the next 2 years. I mean, it's grown so much in the last 3 to 5 years. I can imagine it's only going to accelerate it further, especially with more exposure and what you ladies are doing. Where can they get a hold of Rugby Academy?
Social media.
Look down that camera right there.
It's all over Instagram and Facebook. We are at Empire Rugby Academy. And check us out. There's some super cool content on there already. So we just want to provide a platform to really showcase these girls. So come be a part of it.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool.
We can't wait to have you.
Awesome. It's been a absolute pleasure. Guys, thank you very much for joining in FFP Travels. Make sure you check out that website, their social medias, and get involved, get in contact with the ladies, because it is a growing sport here within the UAE, and the pathways, the opportunities presented are now bigger than ever before. The game has grown globally. There's more opportunities, and you can, like Kylie was saying, is that there is opportunities to create a career out of this and create a living, not only as far as sports, but further on as far as support around the game as well, refereeing, fitness and health, training, coaching, management and sports, everything else is evolved around the sport to help it grow globally as well. So don't be shy, reach out to ladies, find out more information. Obviously, they know an absolute ton about what's going on within the space, and check out more episodes here on FFB Travels. Until next time, my name's Grant Ghost, and see you then.